So in the previous video, I talked about thoughts and the thought audit. And I said that there's no way the IRS will be able to defeat thoughtery. It may be a powerful tool in striking fear in their hearts, but it will not stop them. No, not at all. Considering the fact that these whores could just pay the taxes and continue doing what they're doing. But I want to break down a topic. I want to talk about something I've been thinking about for a while now, actually. And that is thoughts and incels. And how oftentimes they're painted as adversaries to one another, when truly they are the same problem on opposite sides. They're two sides of the same coin, if you will. And I've been thinking about this for quite some time now, actually. Just watching the fervor that some men have for these whores on the internet. And looking at this disdain. And I think it's important to really break it down and understand why these men are so angry at these women. And why this dichotomy between the incels and thoughts is just wrong. And how they are the same problem. So, where do I begin? I think the first step into beginning is defining our terms here. So, I hate incel and I hate thought as both an acronym and as an abbreviation. I don't like thought just kind of like, not just say phonetically, but like I don't really like it as an acronym because in context it makes no goddamn sense. Thought means that hoe over there. But you can't really use it in a reasonable sentence. If you say that thought, you'd be saying that hoe over there. You know, you may as well just call her a hoe or whore, you know. And I don't like incel because it is a contradiction, because to be celibate is a purposeful choice. And if you're doing it involuntary, you ipso facto cannot be celibate. You know, maybe involuntary bachelorism, you know, perhaps might be a better word, an involuntary bachelor, you know, maybe. But celibate, no, it's dumb. But despite the fact that I don't like them, I'll use those terms because colloquially people use them. So for incel, what will that mean? I will not be using incel solely for the sad, lonely, miserable, misogynistic, and sometimes actually misogynistic young men. I'm going to use it as an umbrella term to pit those men in there, and also the men who give all the money to the thoughts, because honestly, they are as much incels as well. The incels. The only difference is the incels are a lot more vocal and cynical about their position. But for thought, let's consider a woman on the internet who is outwardly and brazenly and shamelessly, overtly sexual, usually obtaining money, but the main purpose for it is trying to garner attention. So just another word for an attention whore, and you know, you got e-whore in general. It just doesn't really include cam models, but it can, you know. I'm really thinking more of the girls on Twitch, the girls on Instagram, you know, the girls on Twitter, that kind of thing. So those are what we're talking about, really. So with our terms defined, let's try to break down why there is a fervor and why there's an anger against these particular type of women. So you got to start with the first reason why, and that is what I touched on in my thought audit video, and that is men find it shameless. And other women find it shameless to be so blatantly sexual on the internet and garner lots of attention and accolades and money for it. And the reason why they find it shameless is because it's easy. And no matter how much makeup you put on, no matter how much you lightly or moderately exercise to just be fit, there's no way around the fact that the effort it takes for a beautiful woman to be beautiful is nothing, mostly because she really didn't do anything to obtain that beauty. If you tell me being beautiful is difficult, I only have to say it's only difficult for ugly people. If you're naturally a pretty woman, well, it ain't hard to exist. Let's just be real, you know. Maybe to live, but not to exist. And so, seeing that shameless ease come from these women, just as men treating women as men, which we really shouldn't be doing, but that's another talk for another time. There's no way around the inherent lack of honor in it. And men are creatures of honor. You might find honorless men. You might find shameless men, because they're out there. But by and large, as a whole, just instinctually built in us, kind of forced into us actually, we have to work on honor. And seeing a woman with no honor cannot be respected. So even if these thoughts are not hate, at the very least, they in their nature cannot be respected because they are not doing something that takes effort. And that anger is very clearly translated in a lot of the men in the manosphere. Let's talk about the other reason why these incels, even just men in the manosphere who aren't involuntary, why they hate them. They're infiltrators. They infiltrate communities almost like a cancer. These women come in with no knowledge, no true genuine knowledge of what they're talking about, what they're doing. And then they suck the community dry from all of the lonely, sad men who never got female attention for most of their lives. And there is an vindictive anger against that. Because these communities that men built were built because they were outcasts, because they were put out. Sometimes by these very beautiful women who are now infiltrating. It shows that there is no escape from the pain that they've already felt. And they hate that, because that was the whole point of that community, was to escape that pain that they received from these women. And it's a pain that is often glossed over and mocked, but it is very real and a true pain that no one wants to consider. That pain of rejection is a serious one. That pain of only having negative experiences with women is a serious one, and that people do not take seriously and they do not genuinely consider. And that is part of that anger against these women. Let's talk about a more meta reason. Sometimes it is a displacement of anger. Sometimes these beautiful women will genuinely just remind these men of, again, all of the girls that rejected them, the girls that brought them pain, and seeing them. It's like a vicarious, it's really meta, but it's honest. And they are projecting the anger they felt from, I guess, Susan, let's just call her that, onto Brittany Venti. She's the first one came to my mind, right? Alinity. They project that anger onto these thoughts because they see that very woman that brought them pain and misery. And sometimes it's not just rejection. Sometimes it's being manipulated. Sometimes it's being abused, because let's not sit here and pretend that girls don't take advantage of men and manipulate and abuse them. Come on. That's what that is. That's another reason why you have these incels who are angry. It's displacement of anger onto these women on the internet for all the pain that they have suffered from other women. And it's not right. I'm not defending it. I'm explaining it. Just so you guys don't, you're saying it's okay. No, it's not okay. That's only a couple of the reasons. I don't want this video to be on forever, but those are some really big reasons where this anger is coming from. Now, here's what we got to talk about. We got to talk about the thoughts. And we got to talk about how these are not happy women. See, here's the saddest thing about all of this. That's why these men hate these thoughts. But then you have the men who put money into them. And they're a special breed. They're a special breed of weak and sad men who a lot of people don't understand why they're doing the things they're doing. But they are hurting just as much as all the other incels. They just don't recognize it. Because they are not paying these women for their nude pictures. Okay, like literally that's what they're doing. But that's not really why they pay for premium Snapchats. That's not why they give these women donations on Twitch. This is not why they go to cam models. They are not going to see a woman naked on the internet. What they're going to see, what they're going to get is intimacy with a woman. That is what they are paying for. They are trying to pay for a way to be closer to a woman. And because they have no other way to be closer to this woman than the basic, most fundamental transaction between a man and woman, which is I provide and you give me sex so we can have children. That basic lizard instinct is all they have. That's why they're paying money to these women. And it's important to understand that, because you realize that they are just as sad and miserable as all the angry incels that you see who are vocal and crying about being lonely. They are equally as lonely. They are no different and no better, which is very ironic at the fact that they have such a disdain and such vitriol for people who are just like them. they're not, they're not really any better. But the thoughts, they're not really winning in this either now, are they? In this battle between incels and thoughts, are they really there's not really a fight. Because again, it is other incels who do not call themselves that, other involuntary celibate men who are giving these women money. Let's be real. If they could find wives and girlfriends, or if they had wives and girlfriends that paid attention to them, would they need to buy a fantasy? Would they need to buy a premium Snapchat to feel intimate with another woman? Obviously not. They are in the same boat. That's my reasoning for that. But it's important to realize that on the other side, here's the thing. These women who become these thoughts, who sell themselves on the internet or show themselves naked on the internet or in a sexual manner, you got to realize that they're not happy either. They're not really winning either. Sure, they may obtain comfortable lives, but they are insecure and miserable, and they hate themselves. There is no 6-year-old girl in life who ever woke up and said, you know what I want to do? I want to show my naked ass on the internet. They don't do that. To get to the point where you're going to start selling yourself and showing your naked body on the internet, you have to only view yourself. You have to only feel that that's what you have to offer in the world. And there are lots of women who feel that. There are lots of girls, and I know some men in the ministry don't fucking care, but we gotta address this. A lot of women genuinely feel like that is all they have to offer, and that's why they become these thoughts. And they don't like it. This isn't the way they wanted their lives to be. Half the time they hate the guys that they are producing content for anyway. And in this huge cycle, nobody wins. Nobody gets anything they want out of this. Because even if the girls are getting money and getting paid, every day they gotta shame themselves more and more. They wake up hating themselves every day. So they might have a comfortable life, but they don't have a comfortable mind. These men don't win because instead of investing that money into trying to find a real relationship, which they can't do, which I'll get into in just a second, they are spending that time on a fantasy, on something that will never come to fruition. And it is a drain on themselves, on their very souls. Now, it might sound esoteric, that might sound spiritual, but truly it is. Even their very mind is being drained because it's going into putting emotion and stock and value in something that they will never actually have. I'm preaching y'all down. I'm kidding. I'm joking. They're not winning either, though, to be serious. Nobody wins at the end of this day. They are the same people, the thought and the incel, who create a cycle of misery and pain and transaction that nobody gets anything out of. And this is all a symptom of a broken, dysfunctional sexual marketplace. The principal point of the sexual marketplace, what relationships we're supposed to do in a healthy society, is regulate between who is worthy to be fathers and who is worthy to be mothers. To regulate who can and who should, and create healthy family units between reasonable people. The reason why you date is to screen people for marriage. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to date people to screen them to see if I can produce children with them. And then you marry them and you raise those children. But in a broken system where men feel like they're not needed, where men aren't needed, where they feel like they have no presence or role in a family unit, in a broken system where women only seek out. Now, the 80-20 rule, here's the thing. The 80-20 rule should not be taken like literally seriously. If you wanted to be literal, it would probably be more 70-30. If we're being literal, it'd be 70-30 to 35-65. But women funnel up to the best man that they can get. And they overvalue themselves. They have way too much, esteem, but not enough self-worth to really understand and regulate. Not every woman can get that man, nor are they worthy of that man. And even then, that man in particular may superficially have everything she wants, but emotionally, he has nothing to provide for his children, right? That's a whole topic unto itself. But because our sexual marketplace is so destroyed and so distraught, we are left with these remnants. These are all symptoms of a sexual marketplace that does not function correctly. People are not able to find relationships that are reasonable. They're not able to find purpose in relationships, and they're not able to use relationships in a correct, meaningful way to produce offspring. When it all comes down to it, that is the point. And so, what I'm here to say, my brothers, is that while it's easy to mock these men, and it's easy to hate these women and besmirch them, the truth of the matter is, they need help. They are all weak people. And I'm not calling them weak just to mock them, but I'm saying that genuinely, they are weak people who are suffering from a broken sexual marketplace that needs to be fixed, because otherwise the IRS is not going to stop this from happening. It's not going to stop attention whores. And the solution is something that's going to take a lot from both men and women. So when it comes to incels versus thoughts, there really is no true battle, because it's incels that are producing these thoughts who are giving them attention. The sad, angry, vocal incels are the ones who are disappointed that they're not getting anything. But the men who are actually putting money into these women, yeah, they're not any better. They're exactly the same. The only difference is they're not being vitriolic about it. That's really it. Excuse me. So these people need help. And so what I'm going to be trying to do in the future is giving these people that help. And hopefully you guys will join me on that journey as I try my best to find solutions to this problem. So that being said, man, I actually hope you guys got something out of today's video. And if you did, man, go and click the like button. Shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. And I'll see you guys soon. Adios.